Good morning. We are reviewing our chapter 3 comprehension page so we can prepare for our test that is on Monday. So, number 1, our state's name, Minnesota, comes from the Dakota language. What does Minnesota Makase mean? To do a really good answer, you want to restate the question in your answer to make sure you are answering it correctly. So Minnesota Makase means, I'm just going to say them all up, land where the waters are so clear they reflect the clouds in the sky. That's straight from the book. Number 2 is going to be a little more wiggle room on the answer. What happened to the bear family in The Badger and the Bear? What happened to the bear family is that the Avenger kicked the bears out of the Badger's house. If you have something else that you're not sure, you can raise your hand to see if that would work. Izzy?
It says on mine I wrote that they just got kicked out, but I knew we had the Badgers.
So the bears got kicked out of the Badger's house is fine. Maddie?
I have a question for the first one. What if you said it reflects the sky? Would that work?
That the waters reflect the sky?
Yeah, would that work, or do you have to put clouds?
As long as they have waters reflect the sky.
Okay.
That's fine. Number 3, the story of the Badger and the Bear was used to teach children about an important value in Dakota culture, Ohanwasde. What is this in English? Remember, we need complete sentences, so just writing generosity is not a complete sentence. So you could say in English it means generosity, Ohanwasde means generosity, it means generosity. And then how does it connect to food and giving gifts? It connects by giving food to others, especially after the hunt. Remember, it talked in the book about giving food to other people, not keeping it all for yourself. So something along those lines. Number 4, fill in the boxes about human capital. So what is human capital? This was a term from our book. We should have that definition. Human capital is the knowledge and skills individuals have that enhance their ability to earn income. And then people can improve their human capital by, I told us to look in the book for answers. So in the box about human capital, they had 4 bullets. And we needed to write those 4 bullets for these 4 bullets. If they are not in a complete sentence because you copied it from the book, that is okay. Because these are bullets. So the first one is practicing their skills. The second is receiving education and training. The third is staying healthy and being productive. And the fourth is connecting with people who can help them. So those were the 4 bullets in the books. Those were the 4 bullets you should have put. Are there other things we can do to improve human capital? Yep. But we want to make sure we're getting what the book wants us to have. So when I said make sure you're looking in the book, these are the reasons why. Backside. In the Ghost Wife. In the Ghost Wife, what was the important rule the young man had to follow in order for his wife to move to the village? The most important rule he had to follow was to never raise his voice in the teepee. It has to be along those lines. It doesn't have to be word for word, but it needs to be close to that. Number 6, the Ghost Wife was a story that taught Dakota children about what value? The Ghost Wife taught the value of respect. Zoe?
What about to keep your promises?
Was that really the main focus of this story? Was that the moral of the story? Because when we read about the lesson learned, did it talk about keeping promises or did it talk about being respectful? Yeah. So is it important to keep your promise? Yes. But what was the important part of the story was the actual promise to be respectful. Maddie?
Would it work if you said this story teaches children to always listen or never listen?
It's the specific value of being respectful. It wasn't about obedience, it was about respect. That was the moral of the story. Name 2 ways family behaved that reflected this value. There were a lot of examples in the book. I'm going to list off several of them. They need to have 2. If they have a value listed that you're not sure about, ask me. So they didn't look at each other while they were sleeping out of respect. They didn't go through other people's things. They looked down while their elders were talking. They moved carefully in their teepee so they weren't tripping on other people's things. They would not yell. They would keep a calm voice. Izzy.
So it says 2 ways the families behaved are not talking back and being kind with that one.
That wasn't listed in some of the specific examples they gave, so I'm going to say no because it wasn't an example they gave. Nick.
What about the way families behave with respect is by always treating strangers like family and following the rules?
I would take that. Treating strangers like family because they welcomed everyone in and they talked a lot about following the rules and being respectful in that way. Jocelyn.
What if they got the first part right, like the respect part, and then the second part they only got a half?
So this is a 2-part question, so it's worth 2 points.
Okay, so it's 1.5.
Yes. Ashley.
Would talking softly and respect?
The talking softly, yes, but respect is the value. So how did they show that value? So I'm going to say no to that one. Maddie.
Would 1 be, or would 2 be not looking at each other when they ate or slept? Would that be 2 or would that be 1?
Well, they only talked about not looking at each other while they were sleeping.
But in this thing, they said not looking.
Right, so that one doesn't count.
So, okay.
Okay, number 7. In Dakota society, people view history as a circle. What does this mean? History as a circle means that history repeats itself if you don't fix the problem. So when we look at history, a lot of times we look at the timeline of things, but they always look at it in that circular fashion, looking to see if it's going to repeat itself, fixing the problem so it doesn't keep on happening. Number 8, name the states where official Dakota communities or reservations exist today. So I said, look in that box that talks about today. If you just looked at the map, that's from 1700. So the map is not today's world. So in the box, it said there were communities or reservations in Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, and Canada. Canada is not a state. So you needed to have the 4 states listed. Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, and Nebraska. Jocelyn.
What if they didn't put Minnesota, but they put Canada?
Canada's not a state.
So what do I put on?
So that's going to be half from. Sam.
If they also put Canada, should we mark
If they put 5, so if they have the 4 states and Canada, I'm okay with that. They have to have the 4 states. Because it's good to know that they're also live in Canada. Okay, so our test is on Monday. You need to study the chapter, study your notes. Okay. If you got things wrong, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how to make corrections. For my friends at home, I'm going to be going through and correcting their what they put on there. So they need to make sure that they have it correct for what they turned in. Make sure you are studying the correct information. So I'm going to say goodbye to the friends at home.